Have you ever wondered, what if Yuji Itadori had been born 400 years ago, long before Gojo, before Jujutsu High, before the modern era of sorcerers even existed, in a time when cursed spirits ruled the shadows and sorcerers fought just to survive? Does Yuji become the strongest sorcerer of his era, rewriting the very foundation of Jujutsu society? And when Gojo is finally born centuries later, would he still be called the strongest, or would that title already belong to a legend named Itadori? Today, we're diving into the timeline where Yuji wasn't born into Gojo's world. Gojo was born into Yuji's. So this time, Kenjaku executes his plan much earlier. Instead of waiting 1,000 years, he makes his move just 600 years later. To create the perfect vessel for Sukuna, Kenjaku possesses a woman once again, but this time, he targets the bloodline of Sukuna's own brother. He marries the great ancestor of Yuji, a reincarnation of Sukuna's twin, and from that union, Yuji Itadori is born. Just like in the original timeline, Yuji grows up living a completely normal life. No knowledge of curses, no idea of his true purpose until the age of 15. One day, he comes across a cursed object, a shriveled ancient finger, Sukuna's finger. Out of pure curiosity and that reckless instinct that defines him, Yuji swallows it, and after 600 years, Ryomen Sukuna is reborn, but only for 10 seconds, because just like before, Yuji takes his body back. He looks at his hands, confused. What was that? But this time, there is no Jujutsu High, no Gojo, no higher-ups waiting to execute him. Kenjaku's goal was simple: create a vessel. Once that's done, he doesn't care what Yuji does next. And since no great clans or organized Jujutsu institutions exist in this era, no one comes to kill him, so time passes. Yuji begins hunting down Sukuna's fingers after learning about them from ancient sorcerers of that era. One by one, he consumes them. Years turn into decades. 100 years pass. Yuji has now consumed 10 fingers. The remaining 10, he keeps sealed away, because this time, he has no mentor, no one to suppress Sukuna if things go wrong. So he trains, alone, relentlessly, and something terrifying happens. He stops aging, being half human, half cursed. Time no longer binds him like it does others. Centuries pass, 380 years since his birth. Now, Yuji has consumed all 20 fingers, but unlike the original timeline, 20-finger Sukuna cannot take control, not even for a second. Yuji's will is absolute. He has mastered every one of Sukuna's techniques. He has perfected Domian expansion, he has refined his own cursed energy beyond imagination, and now, Yuji Itadori sits at the very top of the world, in the position that once belonged to Gojo in the original timeline, the strongest sorcerer alive. And then, the balance shifts. A child is born. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Six Eyes and Limitless appear together. Satoru Gojo. Even from miles away, Yuji feels it, a presence, a distortion in fate itself. Time passes again. Gojo turns 10 years old, and this is when Yuji makes a decision. Instead of ruling through fear, he joins Jujutsu High, not as a student, as a teacher, because for the first time in centuries, he sees potential in the next generation, potential that could surpass even him, just like Gojo once saw in Yuji in the original timeline. Soon, young Satoru Gojo, Suguru Gerose, and Shoko Yeri enroll as students, and Gojo, the future strongest, looks up to one man, Yuji Itadori, the legend of this era. Now that Yuji stands at the top of the world, it's time to shape the next generation. He assigns Gojo, Geto, and Shoko their first independent missions, and they clear them effortlessly. Gojo is already a monster, locked even at a young age. His limitless overwhelms most opponents with ease. But Yuji notices something, a flaw. Gojo relies too much on raw talent, so from the very beginning, Yuji pushes him harder than anyone else ever could. He forces Gojo to master reverse curse technique early. He trains him to maintain infinity passively, at all times. He even guides him in refining his domain expansion years before he originally would have. The result? This version of Gojo is far stronger than the one from the original timeline. At the same time, Yuji personally trains Geto, sharpening his cursed spirit manipulation, refining his combat instincts, and strengthening his resolve. Then comes the mission, the star plasma vessel Riko Amanai. Just like before, Yuji assigns the task to Gojo and Geto. They're more than capable. The mission begins exactly as it once did. They eliminate every assassin and sorcerer sent after Riko. They successfully escort her back to Jujutsu High, and then a man appears behind them, Toji Fushiguro. His blade swings toward Gojo's neck, but this time it stops, right against infinity. Toji's eyes widen. He had expected Gojo to deactivate it, but Gojo never turns it off anymore. Yuji made sure of that. Gojo calmly tells Geto to take Riko to Tengen. I'll handle this. But unlike the original timeline, this fight isn't close. Gojo is faster, sharper, more experienced. He overwhelms Toji completely. Within minutes, the sorcerer killer is defeated. Gojo then arrives at Tengen's chamber where Geto and Riko are waiting. Already done? Geto asks. Gojo just smiles. And that's enough. Then comes the decision. Gojo and Geto ask Riko what she wants. After a long emotional conversation, she chooses to live freely. And this time, no tragedy happens, no breaking point. Geto doesn't spiral into darkness. He remains Gojo's best friend. The strongest duo continues to grow. Years pass. Yuta Okotsu joins Jujutsu High. Gojo trains him personally. Under Yuji's leadership, the higher-ups don't dare manipulate events. The big three clans never wage silent wars. Peace, or something close to it, exists because Yuji is there. Respected, feared, and inside him, the King of Curses remains sealed. But in the shadows, Kenjaku watches. He knows one thing. If his grand plan is to succeed, Sukuna must be freed because Sukuna is the only being capable of pushing Yuji to his limits. So he begins preparing something massive. Shibuya, a giant barrier descends over the city, just like in the original timeline. But this time, Yuji goes alone. He tells everyone he just wants to stretch his muscles. Gojo and the others don't interfere. After all, if Yuji is there, nothing can go wrong. Yuji steps into Shibuya. Jogo and Hanami wait inside, surrounded by hundreds of civilians. Kenjaku and Mahito are nowhere to be seen. The curses smirk. With this many humans, he won't attack. They're wrong. In less than a second, 1,000 invisible slashes erupt. Perfectly calculated, not one civilian touched. Jogo and Hanami are reduced to fragments. Yuji has mastered Malevolent Shrine beyond Sukuna's own limits. And then a voice echoes behind him. Itadori. Yuji freezes. He turns. His mother stands there, alive, smiling. For a split second, his mind refuses to process it. Then realization hits. Too late. The prison realm opens. Yuji lunges forward, but chains of cursed binding wrap around him. Kenjaku steps forward, smiling as the stitches reveal themselves. This body was never your mother. Yuji! Rage floods Yuji's eyes. The strongest sorcerer alive, sealed, and somewhere deep inside him, the moment Yuji is sealed, everything changes. Just like in the original timeline, the prison realm cannot be moved. It remains exactly where it was activated. At first, no one believes it. The strongest sorcerer alive, sealed? That's impossible. But when Gojo tries to contact Yuji, silence. No cursed energy response, no presence, nothing. And that's when reality hits. Yuji Itadori has been sealed. Gojo, Geto, and the others rush to Shibuya immediately. What they find confirms their worst fear. The prison realm sits there, silent, immovable, absolute. Gojo attacks it. Infinity-enhanced strikes, maximum output techniques, nothing works. Geto tries, Yuta tries, every high-level sorcerer attempts something. The prison realm doesn't even crack. For the first time in this timeline, there is no Yuji standing above everyone. The balance shifts instantly. And then, even worse, news arrives. Using Mahito's technique and ancient preparations, he activates a nationwide ritual. The Culling Game has begun. Barriers descend across Japan. Non-sorcerers awaken cursed techniques. Ancient sorcerers reincarnate into modern vessels. Chaos spreads like wildfire. With Yuji sealed, the entire Jujutsu world gathers. Every major sorcerer, every clan head, every special grade. One question echoes in the room. How do we stop the Culling Game and bring Yuji back? Yuta is the first to speak. The Black Rope, a cursed tool capable of disrupting techniques. If they could find one, maybe they could interfere with the prison realm. But Gojo's expression darkens. There isn't a single strand left. Years ago, under Yuji's direct orders, Gojo destroyed every remaining piece of Black Rope in existence. Yuji believed no one should possess a tool capable of bypassing techniques on that level. Now, that decision comes back to haunt them. Silence fills the room. So they turn to the only being who might understand the Culling Game, Tengen. Gojo, Geto, Yuta, and the others descend into Tengen's chamber. The immortal sorcerer listens carefully as they explain everything. Then Tengen speaks, and the truth is worse than they imagined. The Culling Game isn't just a ritual. It's a forced evolution system. Players are trapped inside barriers. Points are earned by killing. Rules can only be changed through accumulated points. And worst of all, the game cannot simply be stopped. It can only end once Kenjaku's true objective is fulfilled. Gojo's eyes narrow. What's his real goal? Tengen hesitates, then delivers the harsh truth. Kenjaku isn't just trying to cause chaos. He's trying to merge humanity with Tengen. Silence fills Tengen's chamber. Then Megumi speaks. Is there any ancient sorcerer who reincarnated with a technique that can nullify cursed techniques? Tengen pauses. There was one. A sorcerer known as Angel. A being capable of extinguishing any cursed technique. A being capable of opening the prison realm. Hope sparks in the room, but Tengen continues. Many ancient sorcerers have reincarnated in the Culling Game, but there is no record of Angel. Gojo's eyes widen. He understands instantly. Kenjaku deliberately prevented Angel's reincarnation because that was the only natural counter to the prison realm, which means they have no shortcut. So the sorcerers make a decision. If they can't break the game from outside, they'll dismantle it from within. They split into colonies. They begin earning points. They prepare for war. Meanwhile, inside the prison realm, Yuji stands in darkness. Sukuna stands across from him. You want to get out? Sukuna smirks. I can help. In exchange, 1 minute. Sukuna can take over for 1 minute and he will not harm anyone. Yuji hesitates, but but there's no other option. He accepts. A binding vow is formed, and in the outside world, the prison realm trembles. The seal cracks. Yuji steps out because Sukuna, the king of curses, Bishiai, had hidden remnants of the black rope within his own cursed arsenal. Gojo senses it instantly. Yuji's presence, he teleports, and when he sees him for the first time in this timeline, Gojo smiles emotionally and hugs him. "You idiot, don't scare me like that." And then the minute begins. Sukuna takes over. In one swift motion, he rips off one of Yuji's fingers and forces it into Gojo's mouth. The transfer is instant. Sukuna abandons Yuji and takes Gojo's body. Yuji stumbles back, frozen. Sukuna laughs and vanishes into the sky. The vow didn't break. He didn't harm anyone. He simply switched vessels. Yuji's rage explodes. Now the world has a new nightmare. Sukuna, with the 6 eyes, with Limitless. Yuji gathers the others. Yuta, Geto, stop Kenjaku. I'll handle Sukuna alone. The battlefield forms. Yuji versus Sukuna. Everyone watches. At first, Yuji dominates. Hand-to-hand combat, overwhelming. Every punch carries centuries of refinement. Black Flash after Black Flash tears through the battlefield. Sukuna counters. Hollow purple. Yuji dodges. The power gap is clear. Sukuna begins spamming domain expansions. Yuji counters with his own malevolent shrine. Clashes with Yuji's domain. The sky fractures. Domains shatter again and again. Then he transforms. His true Heian era form manifests over Gojo's body. Four-armed, monstrous, ancient. Now it's real. A 1,000-year-old king of curses versus a 400-year-old legend. The fight stretches on. Technique against technique. Will against will. Inside the soul. Gojo fights too, trying to reclaim control. And then Yuji lands it, a soul-targeting Black Flash. One perfected over centuries. Punch that strikes not the body, but the soul. Sukuna is ripped from Gojo's vessel, dragged out, exposed, and Yuji finishes him completely. The king of curses erased. Gojo collapses, freed. He opens his eyes, sees Yuji standing there, and smiles. Still the strongest, huh? Elsewhere, after a brutal battle, Yuta and Geto defeat Kenjaku for good. The Culling Game ends, peace returns, and in this timeline, Yuji Itadori remains the strongest. Gojo stands second, but far stronger than he ever was in the original world, and maybe this was the best possible timeline. Now I want to ask you, at what point could Yuji have taken a different step? And would it have changed everything? If you enjoyed this alternate timeline, make sure you like the video, comment your favorite moment, and subscribe. We're so close to 5,000 subscribers. Love you all.